Oh, this is delicious!
Guess you won't be needing those tapes I made for you. You want me to get rid of them?
Yes! Yes!
This is bullshit.
Yes, the Universe Survival Arc. The arc based around the Tournament of Power. Well, you gotta admit, it is the most ambitious tournament in the Dragon Ball franchise yet. I mean, a Royal Rumble, 80 fighters across 8 universes in the Dragon Ball multiverse. I mean, how can it possibly go wrong, right? Yeah, Sanjay Uche here, people. Welcome to another segment of Dragon Ball Super, well, Dragon Ball discussions, but of course it's specifically Dragon Ball Super in this case. Where today, as you can tell by the thumbnail or the title, whatever, we'll be discussing 6 problems in the Tournament of Power, the Universe Survival Arc. And I can already see people saying that, okay, the arc isn't over, you probably should just wait until it's done before you do a review or discussion on it like this. But honestly, my response to that is that even if the arc ends well at this point, it's not going to negate these problems that I'll be discussing today. Honestly, and I'm all for the arc ending well. So it's gonna just be like an open-ended discussion, nothing, well, it's serious, but yeah. Let's just get right into it. So let's kind of start things with even my little intro there. We'll be breaking down, I guess, our journey from the beginning of the universe, the universe survival arc until now. So with my little intro that I have there at the beginning of this video, it's basically what seems to be, to me at least, the Dragon Ball Super effect. And what I mean by that is this, where they announce a new arc, the fan base gets hyped. The fan base also admits that the current arc that just ended probably was a bit questionable, could have been better, or it was ended like, yeah, it didn't end so well in terms of from a writing standpoint at least. And we get hyped and then rinse repeats. And that's essentially what's happening with the Universe Survival Arc, the Tournament of Power right now. But anyway, let's get into these 6 problems. So, number 1, the tournament buildup. So, starting with episode 77, if I'm not mistaken, we begin the journey into the first 20 episodes of this arc, which sets to build up, build hype for the tournament, establish characters, and all that jazz and blues. Now, honestly, during the build-up phase, these 20 episodes, like, it you would hear some very common complaints. Whether Super Saiyan Blue has gotten weak, why is Goku using Super Saiyan Blue so much, why is he using it against Krillin, why is 17 this strong, why is Roshi stronger than Tien, why is Tien so poor? Like, it's almost ridiculous the amount of complaints we had during those first 20 episodes. And I will admit that the execution of these episodes to help establish why characters that have been essentially thrown to the wayside where power is concerned have suddenly become so much more, I guess, interesting or story-worthy when it comes from a power standpoint. And not only that, also we're establishing interest in the other universes is concerned. Now, I know we had the whole Zen exhibition match and all that. That was interesting to see Universe 9 and foreshadowing with Jiren. But honestly, these 20 episodes, I believe, could have been used more effectively in building interest in the other universes and the fighters there. And I kind of chalk it up to the format that they actually had with these episodes, where I felt it should have been more along the lines of one Universe 7 member per episode, and you kind of go back and forth between it and a selected universe for that week. But they didn't do that every week, and it kind of just eventually, when we get to the tournament, that we have this list of characters that we don't give a shit about, honestly. So that kind of breaks the investment we as the audience have in the Tournament of Power. And as well as you gotta admit, it was a bit sloppy how the Universe 7 members were kind of recruited, in the sense of, okay, Gohan suddenly gets relative to Super Saiyan Blue, Roshi stronger than Tien. Why is Tien looking so worthless when he's always training? Yeah, stuff like that. And I felt that the build-up just really overall needed to be handled a lot better. Granted, up to the end of the Zen exhibition match was good, but it's really around the Universe 7 recruitment section of the build-up that it really drags down the entire arc for me. But anyway, let's move on. Next reason. Our next problem, rather. So, okay, we kinda did the whole build-up thing a bit 50-50, but okay, the Universe 7 members are here now. They may have gotten stronger with some off-screen training that may or may not make any sense, but okay, we can at least see them work together in the tournament, right? So the main problem in the Tournament of Power for me is that a lot of the Universe 7 members are really and truly overshadowed by Goku. And I'm recording this, the latest episode is 119 of Dragon Ball Super. And honestly, even that episode kinda aligns with this problem. In that episode, Piccolo it was the perfect opportunity for Piccolo to essentially shine. And it kind of goes back to this problem where there's a lot of missed opportunities essentially for interesting teamwork and showcasing these members of Universe 7 that are essentially fan favorites but have been pushed to the sidelines ever since probably certain portions of Z. And honestly, even though Android, like, they do get moments here and there, but overall at the end of the day, they feel really overshadowed by Goku and his performance in the tournament, because like most of the time Goku is involved in an episode. If it's 17 and 18, Goku's probably involved somehow. You see him there, and it's not every episode, but you get the idea. Okay, so moving on. The next problem itself, as we have mentioned Goku already, is Goku himself. And this is probably the shortest problem I'll stay on in terms of the length of time I stay on it. And obviously it's his stamina issues. Now, if you've been watching my reviews up to this point, you would have heard me made mention of Goku's whole stamina issues, really, and how it's been handled since his fight with Jiren and the whole Ultra Instinct ordeal. And honestly, I think it's bullshit. Honestly, like, okay, so I'm gonna make the comparison. Imagine, let's go back to Namek when Goku pulled off the Kaioken times 20 Kamehameha on Frieza. Imagine after pulling that off, Goku after a minute or two could pull off a times 10 and a times 20 again against Frieza. You see how that makes no sense? Honestly. And it's just that the how they've handled Goku's stamina issues, it also leads to another missed opportunity to showcase the dynamic and the teamwork between the Universe 7 members and giving them time to shine, which I don't understand why they didn't do at all. So there's that. But anyway, moving on to the next problem. Contradictory writing. Now, this is going to align with something a lot of people have been saying since the recruitment section of this arc, and it's the overuse of Super Saiyan Blue. But really and truly, what I mean, back to the main point of contradictory writing, is that throughout the Tournament of Power, well, not even halfway through, we get that they bring over a plot point from the manga, in that But in terms of how it was handled, in terms of switching between God and Blue, the whole idea that Blue just transforms into it consumes a lot of stamina. They bring that plot point into the arc, and they make mention that it is important to conserve on stamina, and they establish that Blue consumes a lot of stamina. Fine. Cool. Now, where the contradictory writing comes into place is that we see that Goku really and truly didn't have to transform into Super Saiyan Blue. Possibly like 90% of the times he's done it in this arc. He could have handled a lot of situations in his lower forms, which would have saved him a lot of stamina based on how they've written this arc, and essentially align itself with what the writers are telling us, that hey, he's trying to conserve on stamina, yet he consistently goes Super Saiyan Blue. So that in itself it's really contradictory. If he can beat his opponents in lower forms, why are you going blue when the writers are establishing that hey, it does consume a lot of stamina? So, and how do I know this is the case, in the sense that he can use his lower forms? Because okay, right, Goku goes Super Saiyan Blue against Kale. Kale gets stronger by mastering her Berserk form. Goku, after fighting Jiren, if you want to consider he's not at full power, and he's in Super Saiyan 2, goes up against a stronger Kale and Caulifla at the same time. You see where I'm going with this? As well as the fact that Ribrianne, and the episode where Android 18 and 17 go up against Universe 2, this was another indication that Goku did not have to go blue against, like, any scene he went blue against Ribrianne, didn't have to do that. Unless 18 is a stronger Super Saiyan Blue, which I doubt. But the fact that the fact that 18 could beat Ribrianne in a powered up form, that simply says to me that Goku didn't have to go blue to even attack Ribrianne at all. But whatever. And I know a lot of people are gonna say key control and all, but the fact that the writers established the fact that blue consumes a lot of stamina, and they're making it a plot point to say that this arc you need to conserve on stamina, hence the contradictory writing. But with all that talk about Super Saiyan Blue and all of that, we move on to my fifth point, which is the contrived tension in this arc. And it essentially builds off my previous point, in that if Goku can really and truly beat all these people in his lower forms, because Kale kind of surprised most people in the tournament, and Ribrianne is essentially Universe 2's star player, and if it's proven that Goku can beat them in lower forms based on his teammates' performance against them, or his performance against stronger versions of these characters he's used blue against while he's using lower forms, that simply says to me that most of this tournament is essentially fodder characters. They're pretty forgettable. Goku and Vegeta could one-shot them, save for the fact that some of them may have unique abilities, but that aside, they're pretty much fodder, and all the tension and all that they want us to feel is essentially forced. Essentially, and a lot of the screen time is essentially a waste of time, in the sense that okay, Vegeta and Goku are fighting Ribrianne all this time when they could just one-shot her. you get it's contrived tension. And I've said in the past that sometimes where Super is concerned that hey, it could be just a line of dialogue that could help smooth things out. They could simply say, yeah, we can assume that Goku and all those guys are holding back. That's obvious based on my points so far. But Goku and Vegeta saying, okay, we're gonna hold back. We're not gonna one-shot them to say let's test ourselves against them. That wouldn't hurt. You get what I'm saying? But really and truly, the biggest threat in this tournament has been Universe 11's Jiren, Topo and Dispo essentially, as well as Kefla. That's and Hit. Everybody else essentially fodder. There might be one and two characters here and there, but it's mostly a case that they have unique abilities that Universe 7 seems to always overcome. And speaking of that, the last problem I have with the Tournaments of Power is the tournament structure itself. It really feels like, hey, Universe 7 versus X. Hey, Universe 7 versus Y this episode. Hey, Universe 7 versus Z this episode. And it's like, it kind of goes against the idea of it being a Royal Rumble. Why don't we see Universe 6 go against Universe 2? Why don't we see Universe, 9 go against Universe 4? For crying out loud. I know at the start they said they'd target Goku, but it makes it feel less of a battle royale essentially. And honestly, I thought that probably one or two episodes do get it right. I especially felt this way with last week's episode 118, where Universe 2 and Universe 6 got eliminated when they were kind of back and forth between Goku and Gohan's fights in that episode. It really felt more like a battle royale. There have been episodes here and there throughout the tournament that felt that way, but for the majority of it, it kind of just feels like these one-sided confrontations between Universe 7 and Universe X, Y, and Z. If you get what I mean. And yeah, so those are my 6 problems that I have with the Tournament of Power, the Universe Survival arc. All in all, it is entertaining, but at the end of the day, the tournament, this arc hasn't really changed my mind as a whole where Super is concerned and how it's gone about things. At the end of the day, it's still a bunch of interesting concepts, but the execution still is a bit iffy, to say the least. It has its charms. I like this. I love the series, don't get me wrong, but I'm not going to sit here and say that it's the best thing in the world. It has a lot of problems, and I mean a lot of problems. You can look anywhere in across the YouTube and the Dragon Ball community and you'll hear it. Dragon Ball Super has a lot of problems. But with all that said, still, props to Android 17, props to Roshi. As I've mentioned, the characters in Universe 7, they do have moments here and there, but it is what it is. Let me know what you thought about this video and my 6 problems, which I'll have here on screen so you can look back, I guess, but nah. Rate, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.